So my husband just got done with our last bunny cage last night, and so we got to bring some of the bunnies and put them in there, and it's really cool. I'm going to show. This is actually his third rabbit cage that he has built, so I will also show you his first and his second and then his final one, which is the best. So this is the cage that he just got done building. So it's made out of really small wire. It has this door that opens in. You can clip it up to the top. It's very handy. The bottom is made out of really small square wires. They have half of a rug in there to lay on. There's P-guard all the way around the cage. And then we have their water attached, their feeders from the outside so you can easily refill them. And then he used some of the extra wire to build these little Timothy hay holders that if they get some dropped down, it's supposed to land in their food. I don't know how efficient that is, but it's pretty cool. So this table has 4 cages on it. Each cage is 2.5 by 2.5 feet. We also put the really small wire on the top, just like on the floor of it. That's because our cats jump on top of this cage and we wanted it to be sturdy. So we have the 4 different cages here. They all have the same features. The table is 10 feet long. And we left a gap from where the wood ends to where the cage starts so that poop doesn't get stuck right on the wood. So another feature of this table is the drainage system. So we basically have this piece of plastic stuff and it goes down at an angle where it reaches down there to the tote, and so the poop and pee just kind of washes down into the tote down there. And if poop is stuck in these grooves, then we just run water down it and it'll push all the pee down. So this is where the pee ends up. You can see up there that it angles down. We also have some metal sheet on the sides here in case it would pee over towards the edge, so it would come down this way. So you can see there's already quite a bit of poop in there just from one night, but we'll run some water down that top part and it'll all flow into this gutter system here and down this little hole, and it'll spit out right here. So you can already see that there is a bunch of pee in there. So this is what it looks like from the drainage side. Here's the front view. Here's the view from the other side where the drainage system starts. Here's a view of the back. Okay. Let's see it come down. Wow. We also have the ceramic bowls in the cages just because it is winter and their water things have been freezing, and so that's just like a backup source. We don't need to worry about that today though. It is in the 50s today and it is January. It is so beautiful out today. It's gorgeous. So this cage is the one that he had built prior to this awesome cage that he just got done with last night. He made this one probably a year ago. And there were just a lot of things that we didn't like with it, and so that's why he made a new and improved one. So I'm just going to show you. This one is the same length. It's 10 feet long. Has 4 cages on it, but the cages are a little bit different. There's 2 bigger ones and 2 smaller ones. And we had made bigger ones for in case our girl rabbit had bunnies, so she had a bigger cage to go in. And then we just had little ones. But this is at a point when we only had 4 rabbits, and now we have 7 also. So we needed another cage system anyway. Temporarily, what we had done though, up until last night, is we had these big cages divided in half with square wiring, so there were actually just 2 in each of these bigger cages, And then we had one rabbit on the floor in a different kind of a cage. So I'm going to show you what mistakes were made in this. So for this cage, we were actually trying to replicate our county fair's rabbit cages. So they have this system on the bottom where it's basically a tarp that catches the poop and pee. When you get a collection of poop and pee, you just throw some bedding over it, and then eventually you have to scoop it all out, and it's kind of a pain. We also had to end up putting this chicken wire around it because our cats were actually going in there and pooping and peeing, so it was double nasty. So we had made these cages out of this wire that had much bigger openings. The rabbits can actually stick their whole heads out of it. They would be able to touch noses, you know, between the cages, which was not good for the rabbits that were fighting. Also, there's rubber on it. The rabbits were chewing the rubber off. That was just not a good choice. The roof is the same as our current cage, so the cats can jump on there and not collapse it. The floor is also the same. Also for these, the whole frame is made out of wood, which is not a good choice because you can see how nasty it gets. Also, the rabbits, you can look like on that one, they chew up the wood. And you can see that there's no gap from where the wood ends to where the cage starts. There is no gap. So poop gets stuck in the corners, up against the wood there. Just kind of poop everywhere. And that is not fun. It makes it really smelly and nasty looking. And then we still had to divide the cages with these square wires because, like I said, the rabbits could stick their whole head through to the other rabbit. And that wasn't good for the boy rabbits that are really territorial and like to bite each other. Also with this bigger wire, these food things do not stay on the proper way because this actually is supposed to screw in between the wire and this, but with the wire being so big, it does not catch it. So I had to actually end up using zip ties to stick those to the wire. We are going to actually remodel this cage to make it look like this. So the table will stay the same, but we'll just rip out all that bottom part and put this drainage system in and redo the cages. So this is the very first bunny hutch that Justin made. We had brought home one rabbit from a county fair and we had nowhere to put it. And so this was his very first project probably on the farm when we moved here. And then we ended up getting another rabbit from the person who we got it from at the county fair, just from her home. She bred rabbits. And they lived in here together. They were male and female, so they got along great, except that the female kept getting pregnant, of course. So this is like the nesting box area where they spent a lot of their time. The nice thing about this was that there was like a piece of wood that comes in here during the winter, so you can stuff it with insulation and it kind of just traps in the heat. But you can see it's nasty, it's wood, and they pee all over it. But it was insulated. This box underneath here, in between this wood piece and this wood piece, there's a bunch of insulation too, so that they stay pretty warm if it's cold out. And then they had this area over here, which we later added because if we were coming in this way trying to grab them, they would just run into the cage and then we couldn't get them. And so Justin built this extra door in here. Oh my goodness, the hinge fell off. Huh. Okay, so that would swing open. We could grab rabbits on this side too. So they had a pretty good area where they could play and hang out, and their food and water were out here. Stuck against this chicken wire. And then in the winter, we hung a waterproof tarp over it, like we bungee corded all over so that the breezes and stuff wouldn't go in through that chicken wire and get the rabbits really cold. But this is, you can definitely tell this is the first one we made, and we have made big improvements since this. So everything about farm life is really a learning curve. You know, you try something, you make mistakes, you try to improve it the next time, and you just keep going forward. Can you reach her? Say hi, Bunny.
Hi, Bunny.
None of our bunnies are overly friendly. We need to start working with them again before the fair. Don't put your hand in front of her mouth. She might bite you, okay? Just pet her head. Oh, she likes it. Oh, she likes you. Oh, Valentine's gonna come say hi. Don't let her run away. Hold on to her. Yep, hold her there.
Mommy,
Yeah?
I did.
What?
Did.
Oh.